Alright, welcome back everybody. This is part 6 of my Visual Basic Game Programming tutorial series. I've had many people requesting that I do a demonstration on how to create terrain collision using the new movement style, so I'm going to go ahead and do that today. Let's go ahead and get started. We'll begin by throwing in a couple of variables to track the coordinates of our character on the screen. I'm going to call them guy x, and we're going to record it as a decimal because I want to be able to track the small movements as well. So I'm going to do map x. As you recall, that's our starting coordinate, top leftmost tile on our map, and that's going to be 20 and 20 here, so that'll be 20 times. Actually, we'll do plus our character's starting position. If we scroll down here, you'll remember probably that we started drawing our character. We're not using a variable here. We just picked 9 tiles in and 6 tiles down, so we'll use those. So it knows right where our character started out in relation to the top leftmost tile. So that'll be 26 times our tile size, 50, or 32, I'm sorry. Did 50 in the old demonstrations. So this will be guy y, and we'll go ahead and just copy this. Make sure you change that one to y. I made a mistake already, that's wonderful. Our x-coordinate was 9 tiles over, and we're 6 tiles from the top, so it'll be 9 and 6. So now that we have that, what we will have to do is create a new sub to determine whether the tiles to the left, top, south, and east are blocked or not. So let's come down here to the bottom. We'll slip in here and create a private function called isBlocked. Simple enough. Do by val. We want to capture the direction, so we'll just do that as a short, and we will return the value of the function as a boolean. So we'll do a select case on the direction, case 0, case 1, case 2, case 3. Alright, I'm going to call this one north, we'll call this one south, west, and east. And ultimately, I want to return false, whoops, if none of these check out. So what we will do here is we will say if the map value at guy x divided by the tile size and math.ceiling, now if you remember from previous tutorials, the ceiling and floor functions always tell it to either round up or down, and never just randomly round, or round based upon whether it's crossed the 0.5 marker. So no matter what, if there's a decimal, it'll round up in this case for ceiling. So I'll say if guy y, okay, divided by 32, or a tile size, minus 1. Okay, so essentially wherever my guy is standing, it's going to look up from him 1 tile. So it's going to look up to the north, and we're going to look at 1 in our third dimension. Remember, all of our tiles are stored in 0 here, so we're going to store a blocked value or a passable value in this. We'll just default to 0. So if we don't actually populate this third dimension here, it's always going to be 0 as the integer there. So if it's 1, we're going to tell it that it's blocked. So we'll say return true. So just to recap on that real fast, if map x and y 1 is a 1, then it's going to return true and say it is blocked in that direction. Okay, otherwise it's going to go down, check that way, you know, whatever direction we selected, and default to false. Hope I didn't confuse it. So I'm going to go ahead and just copy and paste here. For this one, we're going to do +1, but we're going to change this to the floor value. Okay, so if we're looking north, we always, to get as close to the to our blocked tile as possible, we don't want it to actually trigger the rounding or trigger the check until he is completely at the edge of the tile. Otherwise it'll block prematurely. It'll round up to the next number and think that he's already on the tile completely. So I'll try to show you what I mean in a bit here. So this time we're going to use floor because we're going to be moving downward, and so we want it to round down and make him always think that he's on the last tile before triggering the check. And we will do the same thing for the east and west. We'll just reverse it here. So we'll do our math ceiling and math floor on the x value. -1 for west. I'll go ahead and get rid of this here. Because these are integers, we don't have to round them. It'll automatically do that with the integer. It doesn't really matter anyway on the y coordinate. So let's see, math ceiling guy x divided by tile size -1 tile. If it's a 1, then return true. Yes, it is blocked. So then I'll grab this, copy it down here, do the exact opposite. +1. And this, you know, even if it's a decimal, it'll get converted to an integer. So I think that's really all there is to it. Now, something we will have to do is on our game loop or our graphics loop here, getting our source rectangles. We're going to do 2 actions on that now. Instead of just grabbing the source rectangle, what we'll do is also set a value based upon the type of rectangle, or the type of tile, sorry. So say, you know, grass, we can usually pass through those. Trees, we can usually walk through those, you know, unless in your game you want to block those, and I will show you how to do it. We'll say map x and map y, and 1, since we're using our third dimension there. Alright, so by default, since we haven't actually set these values, these are going to be 0 and therefore passable. They'll return a false on the is blocked here. So only if they're 1 will we be interested in blocking our keystroke or our movement. So x and y here, you know, are already being passed to the variable, and they're being passed from this loop up here from earlier in our first or second tutorial there. So whatever tile it is, it'll automatically set the value based upon the type. Now I've only selected 3 tiles from my graphics or from my tile set here. That doesn't make for a very interesting map. So I'm going to go ahead, I prepared a list of other tiles that I'd like to use, so I'm just going to go ahead and paste those in here. I'm not going to watch you or make you watch me type them all out, so I'm just going to paste over this. to add in a few new ones. These are all based on coordinates from my tile set here. So as you can see, I've added a new tree here. I'm not blocking the trees. Added the big tree, not blocking that one. Added some weird mountains. Now I set that one to blocked. Also my mountain center, that's the old one that I was using. Set that to blocked. Flowers, no value, so they're passable. Water tile, I don't want to be able to walk through that. So you can kind of see what I've done here. Added a spire. I'm going to want to, let's see, I've in an earlier tutorial here in my form load, you can see I only set a couple of map values here. That's not going to be very interesting. So what I'm going to do, and this is just for the sake of the tutorial, you're not going to actually want to load your map in this way, but I went ahead and created a small map, and I'm just going to paste it in here. And you can just pause it here if you want to copy it for some strange reason, otherwise you can create your own. All I'm doing with this is replacing the ones that I added up here. So I'm just going to get rid of these, and I'm going to call that little sub that I just pasted in there called load map to just pre-populate some of the tiles in my array here. Okay. So you can see what I did. I just added in a few values, 6s and 5s and 8s. These are just loops to pre-add. Basically I wanted to create a wall, and instead of having to do this all the way through it, you can just do a loop through certain coordinates to create, structures. So everything in this loop will be a 3, everything in this one will be a 3. So it'll create like a wall of mountains, for example. I'm just going to launch that to make sure it works okay. Hey, look at that. That's kind of a fun little map. As you can see, I can still walk through everything, and that's because we haven't actually told our guy to stop moving using that is blocked. So that will be our next step. Let's go ahead and scroll up to our character movement. And it should be, there it is, move tune. Okay, so we're selecting the direction to move. I'm just going to encapsulate each one of these directions with an if statement to ask, is it blocked or not? If it is, go ahead and move, and if not, then no way. So we'll say is blocked, and I have to tell it the direction. 1 is our north value, so I'm just going to use 0 here. A little inconsistent. I should have used 0 through 4 on this, or 0 through 3 on this one too, but you can fix that in your game if you want. So I'll just say if it's false, then do that, otherwise don't. It's really as simple as that. So if it's blocked, if it's not blocked, sorry, if the block value is false, then go ahead and move north, otherwise just kind of skip it. So we'll do the same thing here. I'll copy and paste that down there. I'll say 1 for south. If that's blocked, then move south, otherwise don't. Rinse and repeat. 2, and if, and for our east value, 3. Come down below here, and if. Okay, so if and if. And the next step is to make sure that our guy's position is updated. We set him to a specific number here, so he's always going to be stuck on 29 or 26 if we don't actually update that position, in which case he's probably going to get hung up every time he moves. Let's go ahead and we'll start with our y here. We'll say guy y equals guy y minus his move speed. Alright, and the reason I'm subtracting the move speed is because you know, I'm really not entirely certain why I did that. Actually, I think the reason I did that was basically I had to shave off a few pixels here, otherwise it wouldn't round at the right time. Like essentially I wanted it to round, when he gets to the as close to the wall as possible. Like you can see here, I want him to be able to get up as close to the wall here before it rounded, and I think it was rounding incorrectly if I just left it, if I left that at the actual speed. So it stops correctly there. Let me just see what happens if I remove this. Yeah, he just walks right through the wall there. I think what happens is that, it rounds at the wrong time or something, so and when I first did it, I was tracking these variables over here as well, and I just can't remember what I did there. All I know is that it worked when I when I set that. So I'm going to go ahead and put that back in there, and repeat for his other directions here. I'm going to say copy, add that, because we're moving in the opposite direction. So essentially it's going to either, shave off or add whatever number that move speed was. So if we change that down, he's going to be, here he's moving, 8 pixels at a time. So I think it just had to do with shaving those off or adding them on, so it rounded at the proper time. And now he's stopping right when he's supposed to, which is very nice. Let's go ahead and do that. Took me a while to figure that part out. I was really having some issues, especially with the divisions and stuff down there. Because you know what? I suck at math. Alright. And one more for the east value. We'll be adding this time. Alright. So hopefully, if we did this right, all directions will move and stop anywhere one of these tiles has a 1 in its third dimension. So those are blocked. The trees are okay. Can I walk in the water? No, I cannot. Can move around. Looks like I hit something weird there. I think I messed up on my west value, or my east value there. Guy X plus move speed. Yay, the joys of debugging. Okay, let's see here. Go down to our is blocked. It must be down here somewhere. Okay. No. What did I do? Okay, you can see what I did. Alright. Well, I'm kind of glad this came into play. You notice that I am rounding at the inappropriate time. I was supposed to put a floor on this one, so I was supposed to do ceiling for moving in a negative direction and floor when moving in a positive direction. And so you can actually see how it was rounding up when I was moving in a positive direction there. And because of that, it was rounding prematurely. That means that when I cross the threshold of this tile, say I want to move into the next tile, I can't, because I've already taken my move speed which was 8, and basically it calculated guy X as having +8 on there, and because of it, it thought he was already up on this tile, and it rounded up. So what we need to do is say, don't you dare round up until you absolutely are past that threshold and onto the tile. So hopefully we can move all the way. Look at that. So sometimes having errors in your code is a good thing. Kind of help you understand how that works. Sorry, I kind of had that off the screen there. I wonder how many times I've done that in this tutorial. So this little mountain here is blocked. And I can walk outside and get lost in the world. Yay! Anyway, hope this has been helpful for you. Not sure exactly what I'm going to do for my next video, but I'm sure we'll run into something. Catch you later. Bye-bye.